Hey guys, it's Emma, and I'm back today for you with another video. And today we're doing another rant review. I have just been doling out rant review after rant review after rant review because I have just read some books worth ranting about. This one today in particular. And that book is Fire and Blood by George R.R. Martin. Okay, this book is basically a Targaryen history. This is detailing the reign of the Targaryen dynasty from beginning with Aegon the Conqueror all the way up to Aegon the Third. This covers the first half of the Targaryen dynasty. And there are a lot of trigger warnings because it is Game of Thrones. Right, I think that's understandable. And the trigger warnings for Fire and Blood are mentions of rape, gang rape, sexual assault, torture, death of a loved one, incest, war, animal death, pedophilia, child abuse, alcoholism, suicide, drug abuse, self-harm, miscarriage, and kidnapping. The words cannot describe how disappointed I am in this book. So this is going to be spoilery, this is going to be ranty. If you're a fan of this book, you might not want to watch this, okay? Because I'm going to tear it the fuck apart, okay? If you agree or disagree with anything that I say in this video, let me know down below, okay? But again, these opinions are my own. I realize that this book and this series in general, and obviously Game of Thrones, is very much beloved. Believe me, I understand. I used to have those exact same emotions about this series, but I don't know, as I've gotten older, I've gotten a new lens to look through, let's just say that. Opinions are subjective, reading is subjective. Whilst I basically rant about this book, I'm gonna need a de-stressor, okay? So we're gonna be drinking some pink Moscato. Y'all thought Cersei drank? Just wait till the end of this video. With that, let's get right on into it. We're gonna start with the pros, okay? Because I did like some stuff in this book. The major thing that I loved was the fact that it was just a big history lesson. It was more lore about this world that I had spent years of my life in. However, because it read like a history lesson, it therefore read like a textbook, with no emotional depth or grasp on any of these characters. If you read about a character that died, their death would take a paragraph and then automatically we'd be just going right along. So you would kind of have to sit back and hold on to that for as long as you could in order for that death to have any emotional value or grasp on you. That's where I think the show does it better than the book, because the show humanizes everybody. All right, for example, Alicent Hightower. In the show, she's a woman that is manipulated, has been manipulated by everybody, been used as a pawn by everybody, i.e. her dad, pimping her out to the king, but that's a whole nother thing. She's just a misfortunate, mistaken woman, okay? The whole reason that the Dance of Dragons even happens is because she's mistaken. Oh my gosh. But book Alicent is just a cookie cutter evil stepmother. But that's about it in regards to pros. Okay, so now we're gonna talk about the cons. The first con with Fire and Blood is the treatment of female characters. George R.R. Martin could not let his female characters catch a break. There was no main character that was female that got a death that was not brutal, barbaric, cruel, or just downright sad. An example of this would be Alicent Targaryen's death. Okay, Alicent, Good Queen Alicent, is the sister wife of Jaehaerys Targaryen, known as the Conciliator, the one that was one of the best kings in the Targaryen dynasty, in my humble opinion, okay? Alicent, she was an awesome ass queen, okay? She was the one that flew up to the north and got Lord Stark to like thaw his icy ass exterior for her, and like basically she had him wrapped around her finger when he's notoriously grumpy and gruff and just mean to people, okay? She also got rid of the right of the first night, which basically was this whole thing of if a woman gets married on the first night of her marriage, the lord of the land can basically come in and be like, okay, yeah, your virginity, that's actually mine. Because it's my right. It's my divine right. Calm down, Braveheart, all right? I didn't know we left Scotland. She just does a bunch of feminist shit, and I love that. I love that, all right? And she dies from old age. But the way this book writes it, you would think that it is the most pathetic, saddest thing that you've ever seen, that's ever graced your optic nerve. This is a medieval type setting, all right? People die when they're 30 here. 30, that's old age. You're in a home at 30, okay? So to have someone die of old age, a death that's not death of a sexual disease, that's not death from childbirth, especially for women, a death that's not being stabbed or shot or burned to a crisp from dragons, but you die of old age, asleep in your bed, I'll take that any damn day. The way that it's described, like I said, you'd think that it was the worst death to possibly have, okay? Let me give you an example. Good Queen Alicent, she's no longer in her prime, okay? And everything that she once loved is gone. She loved music, she can't hear anymore. She loved Ride Her Dragon, she can't anymore because she's not in her prime, okay? She's getting old. If she tried to ride her dragon, her hip would hurt her really bad because she's not in her prime anymore. Did I mention she's not in her prime? And whenever she got down off of her dragon for the last time, she would cry because she's not in her prime anymore and she can't ride her dragon anymore. Then basically she falls down the steps and she actually does break her hip because again, she's not in her prime anymore. She's 60, oh my God. And then she dies alone in her bed while Jaehaerys is in King's Landing and she's at Dragonstone again because she's not in her prime, because she can't go see her husband because she's not in her prime. Shut the hell up. So no, that pissed me off, especially because I loved Alicent. And for Alicent to have to go out like that because God forbid you give a main female character a peaceful death or something that isn't akin to rape or violence in itself, it just pisses me off. And I didn't realize it. I didn't like see it until I got to maybe halfway through the book. Okay, and this is a 758 page book. And for there to be 758 pages of women dying horrifically, I'm good. I've seen horror movies. I'll live. The next con that I have with this book is Rhaenyra's character. Okay, and I realize I may be biased on this point, and if I am, I acknowledge that, but the bias will remain supreme throughout this next section, okay? Rhaenyra is I would say the main character of House of the Dragon, and therefore of the Dance of Dragons as a whole. Her character was dashed. As the dance went on, it became more and more apparent that George R.R. Martin was painting himself into a corner, and he was like, okay, well, wait a minute, I've hyped Rhaenyra up, I've given her all of these victories, I've made her follow all the rules of my world, and now she's on the Iron Throne. Okay, well, wait a minute. Now I have to do something, and now I have to make her now I have to give her a demise.
You better talk to her before I do, because I'm hurt her feelings.
The demise that he had to give her, in my opinion, didn't make any damn sense, okay? What do you mean that she sits on the Iron Throne, and when she gets up and off and leaves the courtroom, she's bleeding? And what do you mean that means the Iron Throne rejected her? She is literally not only the firstborn, all right, but also Viserys' spoken heir. Viserys literally told everybody with ears over and over and over again, this girl right here, she's my heir, all right? Yes, I have a son just underneath her, but no, I'm not going back on my word because I already said that she's my fucking heir. All right? That is ridiculous. You're telling me that not only she's the firstborn, but she's also the spoken heir, and the Iron Throne rejects her. And the reason why I deduce that is because George R. R. Martin needed a demise, because he's like, okay, well, wait a minute. Like I said, I made Rhaenyra follow all the rules. She's the firstborn. She's the spoken heir. But now, because I can't have a woman on the Iron Throne, because, oh my gosh, that completely whatever. Now I have to break the rules of my own world and give her a demise. Which actually turns out to be so fucking stupid, because you're telling me that you're now gonna turn Rhaenyra, of all of these people, into a paranoid ruler archetype, the ruler that arrests everybody that originally helped them for no reason. I remember getting so angry because I was like, what are you doing? Why did Rhaenyra win the dance? If it was just gonna turn out like that, all right, what? To give her son fuel to rule? So in that way, she's a staple for another male character's development. Good to know. Thank you for spelling that out for me. The last con that I have is just the writing, all right? Some points, it was just downright distasteful, all right? Sometimes the writing came off, the tone of it came off as a 60-year-old flirting with a 16-year-old. And I have an example. On page 396, it's talking about when Rhaenyra and Harwin have sex. And it's apparently Rhaenyra's first time or whatever. And it was he, Harwin, who took Rhaenyra's innocence, shedding her maiden's blood upon the sword of his manhood.
I beg your pardon?
Who taught this man about Wattpad? Upon the sword of his man... I hate it. I hate it. Get rid of it. Also, why does the sex scene have a violent tone? Why does the sex scene have a violent tone? Why does the sex come off as violent? Did he rape her and you just don't want to write it as he raped her, or what? Also, he has a habit of calling baby boys lusty. And by baby boys, I mean infants. And he calls the babies that drink more milk than on average lusty.
Stop it. Get some help.
Stop sexualizing children, okay? Why are they lusty? Is it because they're sucking milk out of a breast? Huh? Does the breast only have a sexual connotation for you? Because at this point, it's not a sexual organ, all right? It's a food source, or else the baby's gonna die. Okay? So does the breast only have a sexual connotation for you? And if so, what does that say? My main thing is, why are you calling a baby, a literal infant, lusty? Do we really want to use that word? All right, because apparently he wrote it down, thought it was appropriate, an editor read it, thought it was appropriate, and then sent it out and was like, yeah, this should be produced. The writing at times feels perverted. I gave this book 2 stars. It was the last book that I read of 2022, and it was honestly probably one of the biggest disappointments of 2022. I was having a decent time for the first half of the book, okay? But then the second half decided to rear its ugly ass head and was like, hey bitch, you know what would be really funny right now that you're really enjoying this 758 page book? You know what would be really funny? If you started to hate it, because we started to do shit that was just inappropriate and really, really personal. I just don't even know what to say. I was horrified by the character mechanics of simply just the female characters in general, and then Rhaenyra's character in particular, because, like I said, I'm biased. I like Rhaenyra. I love her, all right? I thought she was a badass. She was a woman who was supposed to be queen when Rhaenys should have been queen, but no, we can't have a woman be queen because we We just never done that before. Y'all have gone into battle since y'all were 12. And a woman on the throne scares you? Y'all need to get over yourselves. So you guys, that was my rant review for Fire and Blood by George R.R. Martin. I hope that you enjoyed. I hope that, I don't know, if you're like me and you were kind of a minority in the fact that you didn't like it around a bunch of people that did, I am here for you. I understand your plight, and I'm here to give you some camaraderie in your plight, okay? I'm probably gonna have another glass of wine because we're empty, and an empty wine glass is a sad wine glass. So, you guys, I hope you enjoyed. I hope that you will continue to look out for more stuff on my channel. I hope that you're staying safe, and I hope that you guys have a good rest of your day. Goodbye.